We should talk about the fact that Star Wars Battlefront is now officially out. A lot of people are disappointed that it's multiplayer only.
Yeah.
And I've been seeing some people reviewing saying it's great for a while.
I think that's what happens when you have a game where it's just multiplayer. If you've got something like Destiny, which is all multiplayer, there's a community around it. But when it comes to Star Wars, I think that you don't want to just run around and shoot things and run around and fly things. It's Star Wars. You have to have a story. There has to be some kind of, and there's so many different options they could have gone for. And I think that it's weird to me that they decided not to do a single player campaign to this. I was talking about this on Twitter with Colin Robertson, who was here last week. And he said, well, maybe they're waiting the story for the Knights of the Old Republic 3 when that finally comes out. And I was like, well, but this game looks so beautiful. And when we saw little clips of it, and I was like, this is so exciting. This is finally the Star Wars games that everybody really wants and are excited about. But then there's nothing. Like, you get to play as people, but it's to me, it's half of a game.
Yeah, I get that there's a need for single player for a lot of things. I mean, Destiny still has a storyline.
Yeah.
And it took a year for it to be good. But
Peter Dinklage still bored you to death for a good hour.
Yeah, but it still has a storyline, and people were still intrigued by it, and and the whole community built up around it. But I mean, when it comes down to it, it's a Battlefront game, and there's never a campaign, or never a good one at least. And if it did have a campaign, then it would I would assume, just be a video game made after a movie kind of thing, and so it has a really good chance of being really crap.
But if you're gonna license Star Wars out, go all in.
Yeah, I get that.
All in. It's Star Wars, for Pete's sake.
So would you just would it just be Star Wars 4, 5, and 6 in video game form? Because that's what Battlefront is, right? It's based off of those. So what would the single player game be that would be different to the series? Because
I think you could make games based off the original trilogy, but it doesn't have to be like playing out the entire storyline. You could just do like different missions. Like, you can do the mission where you have to go save Han from Jabba and get him out of the carbonite.
Okay.
And you got to do the mission where you got to go to the forest moon of Endor and help the Ewoks help you out. And
there's time between A New Hope and Empire.
Yeah, that's
Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah.
There's a gap there where you could have made the story there.
Shadows of the Empire is one of the best books, and I believe it was an N64 game.
Yes.
And it's one of the best storylines of what happens between Empire and up to Jedi, because there's that big gap there between what happens there. And then there's also another good one that comes right after Jedi, which is called Truce of Bakura, which picks up right after Jedi ended. I cannot believe I know all this.
No, that's great.
But
this is my point.
Stuff that you can play. But Shadows of the Empire was a great story that would have been great to remake into a game.
I mean, so if it's there, if the story's basically written, just redo it in awesome looking graphics and sound.
Yeah.
There's so much fan fiction out there. There's so many options you can have. Like, why don't you just feed off that? Lucas just handed you, or I guess Disney handed you all of the rights to it. Go to town. Do something spectacular. Like, to me, if this had campaign, looked the exact same way it does, if it played well, this could have been hands down game of the year for me.
Yeah,
and now I'm not even going to play it. I have no interest in playing an online-only shooter about Star Wars.
I'm still on the fence about the game. I want to get it and I want to play it, but I know it's not going to be as good as the hype built it up to be.
True.
Because the hype built it up to be this awesome game. You can just destroy everyone with Vader if you're lucky enough, and there are these epic dogfights which don't exist, and so. Like, I just want to fly an X-wing, and it just looks so cool. Well, but I just know that it's in my heart. I just know, because I haven't read any of the reviews yet.
Yeah,
I just know it's not going to live up to the hype, and the way they sold the game pissed me off so much that I refused to pre-order the game.